Well, here's Alan a few days later. For those of you that saw the other video, we saved him off the side of the road. He'd blown a heater hose, and so we did a quick emergency triage and did a down and dirty heater core bypass. But what we did is certainly not a very tidy fix, and it's definitely not a permanent fix. So we're going to get in here a little bit more, take a closer look at what's going on. I'll probably do a quick heater core flush and then see if we can use some generic parts to hook everything back up again. If not, we'll do a better job of the bypass for now and wait for the OEM parts to come in. But let's have a look at what we've got to deal with. So here we go. You can see the two outlets for the heater core. This one here was the one that broke, and this one's still good. You can see they have these plastic quick connect fittings, which are great when they're new, but they fatigue. And what had actually happened, it was this fitting that had fatigued on this side, not the hose itself, and it broke just there where it meets the metal. Now, what we're going to do actually is, even the newer replacement parts, if they're not full OEM, they don't even come with these quick connects on. So we're going to rip the quick connect off this one anyway, and we're going to try and put some generic hose in. We'll probably replace this one too if we can. We'll have a look at the angles and things, and then we're going to jump online and order some OEM parts. But for now, we'll see if we can hook it up. If not, we'll just go through and do a better job of the bypass. So these quick connect fittings were super common from the early 2000s onwards. So they're all, the original ones getting about 20 years old now. American cars and European cars loved them. And yeah, sure, they went on easily, especially in an awkward position like this. But as you see, they're really susceptible for fatiguing now that they're about 15, 20 years old. That happens to all the cars, the German cars, the American cars. I haven't dealt with the PT Cruiser before, but several of my cars I've had to replace these with just standard hoses and hose clamps. So we're going to get the rest of this off in here. Pull that out. That's just a rubber seal there. Sorry, I can't have the camera in my hands and everything, but you can see that's a rubber seal. We're going to pull that off, and then the connect fitting back there, we're going to pull that off, and then we should just have a standard metal pipe, just like an ordinary heater core or hose fitting. And then we'll just be able to put the hose on the end with a normal old hose clamp as well. Be a little fiddly to do it up, but it's much better in the long run. So we just got the rubber O-ring off. Let's see if we can try and break this out, maybe. That's it, they're a bit fiddly, especially back in here. Okay, it is loose. You can see it turning there, I think I can feel that. So maybe if we can use the old bracket to try and pull it out. Let's see how we go. One. There we go, starting to come. A little bit fiddly, but it's coming. Even if we were to put an OEM one back on, we'd want to replace this anyway. You don't want to go to all the effort of putting new stuff on and not replace everything. So just a bit problematic with all the gunk on the end of the hose, but we'll get there eventually. Not really enough room to get this on it, but let's see if we can pull it out. Maybe. Getting close. There we go. And there. And now, let's have a standard metal pipe we can put our hose on. Happy day. So here's our length of generic heater hose. Just going to throw one end on it temporarily for now and feed it through, see how much of an interference fit it is, because the old hoses do have a big bend in them, but then looking at what they're bending around, it's potential that we might be able to fit it. Anyway, so let's have a look. So I'm just going to send this piece of hose in. There it goes, straight on. That's nice. That was pretty easy. So, looking over here, the question is, if we cut it to length, would it automatically bend around here, or will it put pressure on it? So we'll get the old one off down there and then have a go, see what happens. So this is our triaged heater coil bypass. You can see, get my poking stick. This is the bottom one down there. It's already been fixed once, as you can see, and it was the one that blew. And it blew off up here. And so we just cut the kink out of it, or the bend out of it, I should say, and then folded it back on itself. So it just has a big old kink just in there. But it did the job to get us home. So we'll pull both of these off, expose the pipes, and see if we can make it work. There's the top one off. Now we just got to somehow get down to that bottom clamp. This is why I always prefer screw clamps rather than squeeze clamps, because if you don't have exactly the right set of pliers or vice grips or something, these can be a real pain in the backside. I think I've managed to get my vice grips on there enough to get this guy. There we go, all the way off. So now we should be able to get that bottom hose off too. Definitely gonna have to try and coax this off, I think, which is gonna be a two-handed job, I would say. Let's try and break the old seal on the tube there. Oh, might have been it. There we go, we've popped the seal. So now this guy, just a matter of working him off. Just like that. There we go, there's our problem hose. There was a bit more of it before. We cut a lot of that off during the emergency triage. As you can see, someone else has done a bit of a go at fixing it previously as well. But now we have some nice clear runs. We'll see if we can make this generic hose fit. There's our length of hose. I've had a play with it and I think that's about right for it to all kind of stick out of the way of that wiring loom down there. The other one that's there, I don't think it will be able to just be a generic piece, so we might leave the one that's there in place, but hopefully we'll be able to keep the heater going with this. We'll put it all back together, but before we do, we're going to clean the metal pipes there and down here, give them a bit of a run with sandpaper, and we're also going to do a quick back flush of the heater coil whilst we're here, because hey, why not? We're here and I don't think it'll hurt. Bit of a servicing item we can do. Here's our sandpaper, here's our hose. We don't need to be too sensitive with this. This is a fairly aggressive sandpaper, so we can get it done with a few easy passes. It's mainly going to be calcified on, so it won't take much to get it off. As I say, we're not trying to be perfect here. Nothing too amazing, just trying to get a bit of the gunk off the end. There we go, just like that. Just a bit cleaner, go on smoother. And now these ones down here will do the same. And as I said, we're literally just gonna dab our finger in some oil. This is some old oil that I have on site. Just gonna rub that oil in the end of the pipe there, just so there's a little bit of lubricant there. Don't want to be going in dry. Now we should be able to bring the hose up into here. It should just slide on there very easily, just like that. A screw hose clamp there, so what you want to do is make sure this is in a position where you can get to it easily with a screwdriver, which I think for us is going to be, what do we reckon? This has got enough to reach. I don't know if you can see it. There we go. Managed to get this right. We can do this up just like that. And as you can see, it really comes down to just having the right tools on you, in which case it's easy. But if you don't, it can be a pain in the butt. And that's our 2 heater core hoses ready to go. When we plug this one in, it will actually bend down a little bit, just like that, so it's not, I don't know if you can see it, can't get it in there enough, but it's not actually touching the wiring loom. But this one here, you can see it would touch this loom if we used a generic hose. So we're going to keep the OEM one there for now until we can get the replacement parts with the correct kink in it. But this one, luckily enough, the one that broke on us is the one that we can use a generic one. So yay for us. But before we put it all back together, we're going to back flush the heater core. This is a very simple heater core flush setup. We've got our 2 heater core hoses here. I've put some extensions on them into a bucket, got a hose ready to go, and we're just going to back flush backwards and forwards through the heater core. You can do it at the firewall, but I advise if it's easy enough for you to get the hoses there, then put the extensions in, make life easy for you. Also, I like to capture the water I get from the flush just so I can see what's in there. All right, here's our nice easy setup. We're just gonna start running some fluid through it. Oh, there's a lizard in there. Poor little guy. He's probably in one of my hoses, so let's get him out. Oh, come on, little man. You don't want to be in there. Nope, 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 nope. Come on, get out of there. There we go, get you out. So there's our little lizard. Where'd he go? There he is. Give him a bit of shower because he was in all the glycol. Go on, you want to get that off. In my hose. I know you don't like that, but trust me, it's better than glycol. He's hiding under here now. Take a look. There he is. Off you go, little guy. See you later. It's nice and clean. There were a chunk of solids in there. So we'll go the other way now. See what we get in the other direction. Fairly clean that way too. So this one's looking good. And over here, all that solid stuff was in the heater core, so worth getting that out. But the water's clean, so it means the coolant was in decent condition, so that's nice. Now we can pull the hoses out, put it all back together. Should be good to go. Got some new hose clamps there to make life easy next time, because we expect to be back in here down the road putting OEM hoses in. So we'll put the hose clamps on, put them in place, tighten them down. Okay, so there's our first hose in place. This is our generic one. Just got to get this hose clamp in somehow. There's our first one done. Get our second one ready to go. Get our hose back on, nice and easy. Get our hose clamp all the way up and over the bump. Let's probably get a bit of an interference fit under there. There we go. Wherever you can, you want to make sure your hose clamps are easy access. Just think about your future self. Be respectful. And now, there's that one on, and we can get to the bottom one as well. If we'd put this on this side, then we'd have to take this one off to get that one. So just simple things like that make future you very happy. And we are done. There we go. And just like that, we are done. We've topped up the overflow bottle because we just because it was down a little bit and it probably absorbed a little before. Hopefully there's no issues there. You can see down in here, the generic hose is the straight run and the OEM has got the nice bend in it, but that's fine for the one that's on. It's not touching anything, it's not rubbing against anything. There's our new hose clamp there and our old quick fit on the left. Two nice new hose clamps down here. Check the coolant, it's all full. I didn't have to put any extra in there. So, just like that, good to go. I think we're ready to start. Let her get up to temperature. So, let's see what happens. All right, she started right up. We're gonna get it all the way up to full heat too whilst we're here. There we go, full heat, full fan. Just so that we're getting flow through the heater core. And we'll be back when it's hot. She is up to temperature. Beautifully warm heater. Toasty. When we come out here, everything looks good. Everything's looking good in here. Everything's looking good down there. There's some residual coolant down the bottom from before, but that's okay. Dry underneath. So we're going to call that a win. Running nicely, heater warm, no leaks. Can't complain about that. We're going to drive it for a while, see if there are any further problems, but fingers crossed, given everything I heard about the car and what went wrong, they haven't done any damage. So go Aln. So we could just leave it like that. It is fully operational and that generic hose that we've put in isn't interfering with anything, so I'd be more than happy to leave it like that forever. However, given the first hose is gone, that second hose probably should be replaced anyway. The quick fit on that probably doesn't have much left in it. So if we're replacing one, we might as well order a set and replace them both. So we'll be back here in a few weeks once the new parts are in. We're literally just going to switch them out. We're already ready to go with hose clamps and everything. We'll have to replace that one quick connect setting just like we did today on the first one. But other than that, hunky dory. So whoop whoop, win-win, go Aln. See you next time.